All right, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I have heard your feedback from the survey that I gave last week, and I will only be posting one assignment, and I will also back off of posting every single day because I know that several of you are getting caught up on your previous assignments. Those of you who are staying on top of things and want some extra work, I will be posting that. But just trying to give you guys an opportunity to get caught up and also not be so overwhelmed. So your lesson for today is going to be on domain and range of exponential functions again. I've gotten some feedback that you guys have been a little bit confused by this, and so you should have your notes out from Friday on domain and range. Domain for all of our mathematical examples, that's what all of these are right now, are all real numbers, and that our range is going to be determined by the asymptote and the curve. And so you should have your notes out in front of you, but now I'm going to go ahead and turn to the link that I've posted on IXL. And so it says, what is the domain, or what are the x values of this exponential function? Well, we just went over that in our notes for all mathematical examples, our domain is going to be all real numbers. This one says, what is the range of this exponential function? So it says y equals 9 to the x. If you have a graphing calculator in front of you, or if you have a graphing calculator that you've checked out, I'll show you guys how to do this in the graphing calculator. If you don't, I've posted the Desmos link for you guys to work on. So, to graph y equals 9 to the x, you would go into y equals, and then 9 to the is going to come from the caret button right underneath clear. That gives you your exponents. And then you need to put x in parentheses. Y equals 9 to the x. So when you graph your y equals 9 to the x equation, you'll see that the graph stops or does not cross, or the asymptote is at y equals 0. So none of my y values go below, in fact, I'll even zoom in, none of my y values are going to go below that x equals 0 boundary line, or the asymptote. And so that means my range values are going to be everything above or greater than x equals 0. Not greater than or equal to, but just greater than 0. And so here's my answer for this one. What is the domain of this exponential function? Domain for all of these examples are going to be all real numbers. This one says, what is the range of this exponential function? Do you guys hear my cat meowing? I'm going to show you guys how to do one on Desmos. If you guys have a graphing calculator, you're welcome to continue doing this on the graphing calculator, or you can use IXL. Or not IXL, Desmos. Y equals, and then I'm going to go back to my value, 9. And then it says to the, if you look at your keyboard, you have to push the button Shift, and then also push 6. If you look at the keyboard, the number 6 has the caret sign above it. So when you push Shift and 6, it gives you the typing in an exponent form. So then, same thing with the graphing calculator. You're going to put a parentheses, and then x plus 1, and then close your parentheses. So now when I look at my graph in Desmos, we see that the boundary, or the asymptote, is also at x equals 0. So all of my y values are going to be greater than 0. Not greater than or equal to, but just greater than 0. I'm going to do a couple more. What is the domain of this exponential function? So if you guys really wanted to see that domain is all real numbers, luckily I just need to change one value right here. Instead of x plus 1, it's x plus 5. The domain is going to go from all of the numbers to the left and all of the numbers to the right. So all of my x values are included in my domain. That's why it's all real numbers. Okay, so let me skip to a little bit of a higher one and see if things get a little bit different here. It says, what is the domain of this exponential function? Oh man, this is awesome. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to do this one both on the graphing calculator and on Desmos. Okay, so we've got, going back into y equals in our graphing calculator, let's see, I've got 1/9 in parentheses, whenever you have fractions, you have to put parentheses in it. So 1 divided by 9. And then let's check again what the rest of my equation is. 1 over 7 x minus 8. Ooh, this is a great one. So again, 1 over 7 in parentheses to the, in parentheses again, x, what is it? Minus 8. This is a great one. And now push graph. So there's lots of parentheses sets. And I'm going to zoom out from mine. Okay, again, I have my boundary at 0, at y equals 0, and all of my numbers go above or greater than that 0 value for my, I was looking at range. My domain is always going to be all real numbers. Goes forever to the left and forever to the right. Okay, what is the range of this exponential function? So you can do this in your graphing calculator. You just have to make sure you have to be really careful with your parentheses. But I'm also going to show you guys how to do this using Desmos. And so we have y equals 9, 1 over 10. So luckily your Desmos knows how to do fractions. So 1 slash 10. And you see that it already gives it to me in a fraction. To get to normal typing again, you have to push the arrow over to the right. 1/10 to the, so shift and 6 gives you x. And then normal typing again, because if I look at my equation, -3 is not included in my exponents. So then normal typing, I push the right arrow, -3. And this says to me, what is the range of this exponential function? Okay, so my asymptote is at -3. That's what this back number means, is this is the boundary that my graph does not cross over here at -3. So all of my range values, all of my y values are greater than that -3 value. So my range is y is greater than -3. Again, I just want you guys to be playing around with your calculators a little bit and playing around with Desmos in order to put these graphs in correctly, or these equations in correctly. Do your very best with this, guys. And this will be due, today's Monday, this will be due on Wednesday. I'll have both the domain and range from the graphs and domain and range from the equations for you guys to catch up on by Wednesday. I'll be posting other assignments for kids that want some extra work. But I know this is tricky. Please let me know if you guys have any questions, and I will also be offering tutoring later on this week for you guys. All right?